Ever feel like you're talking, but not really being heard? In your relationships, like you're missing that real connection. Well, today we're taking a deep dive into something that can seriously level up your communication feedback.
Yeah, feedback, it often gets kind of bad rap, doesn't it? People think criticism, awkward work reviews, all that.
Exactly. But the importance of feedback, this source we're looking at, shows how it can actually be the key,
The key to building stronger bonds
understanding each other better.
and helping each other grow.
And we're not just talking romantic relationships here.
No, no.
Friendships, family dynamics, the whole works. We've got specific examples, insights from like psychology and sociology.
And by the end, you'll be equipped to give A and D receive feedback.
In a way that actually feels good.
And gets results.
Okay, so the importance of feedback. It really emphasizes that this isn't just about pointing out flaws, right?
Right, it's not about that. It's more about, when we share our honest thoughts and feelings, we create a deeper understanding with the people in our lives.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's like shining a light on those little misunderstandings before they become big problems.
The importance of feedback uses this great analogy of a mirror.
Oh, yeah, the mirror.
Can you expand on that a bit? What do they mean by that?
Well, it means feedback helps us see ourselves more clearly, but through the eyes of someone else. And it can reveal those, blind spots we might not even realize we have. For example, imagine you're always telling jokes
Uh-oh.
that your partner finds hurtful, but you have no idea.
They're just putting up with it.
They never said anything.
Ouch. Yeah.
That would sting, wouldn't it? But having that honest feedback, it could really help you adjust your behavior. Avoid hurting their feelings going forward.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like having a friend gently point out that you've got, spinach in your teeth.
Exactly. And just like that spinach situation, feedback in relationships, it's about helping each other be the best versions of ourselves.
I love that. So how does this actually work, though, in different types of relationships, I mean?
Well, the importance of feedback gives some really great examples of how this plays out in friendships, families, even workplaces.
Let's dive into that for a sec.
Yeah.
Say you have a workplace friend who always dominates conversations, during breaks and
Hold
stuff.
on, we've all been there.
How could giving feedback help this friendship?
It's about being honest, but respectful. So instead of stewing in resentment, you could say something like, hey, I really enjoy our chats, but sometimes I feel like I don't get a chance to share my thoughts. I'd love to hear more about what's going on with you, but also share some of my own stories too,
That's so much better than just silently fuming or avoiding them altogether.
Right. And notice how that feedback focuses on the behavior, talking too much, not the person's character.
That's a good point.
It's not saying you're a bad person.
Right.
It's more like, this specific action is having a negative impact on me.
Yeah, that reminds me of something else. The importance of feedback points out it's not about saying you're a bad person.
Exactly.
It's this specific action is having this negative impact.
Right, and that's so crucial because it keeps the conversation focused on finding solutions, not assigning blame.
Okay, let's shift gears for a second. How about a parent-child relationship? Say there's a teenager who never cleans their room. Classic, right?
The dreaded messy room.
Yeah. So the importance of feedback. What would it suggest in that situation?
It would suggest that instead of yelling or lecturing,
To the go-to, right?
the parent could try, calmly saying something like, I feel disrespected and overwhelmed when your room is messy. Let's work together to create a cleaning schedule that works for both of us.
Oh, I love that. It's not about attacking the teenager,
Right.
but addressing the issue and finding a solution together.
Collaborating.
It's all about clear, honest communication.
And you know what? This isn't just some feel-good advice.
Right.
There's actual scientific backing for the power of feedback in relationships.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, there's this theory called social exchange theory.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of that one. But how does it relate to feedback?
I'm glad you asked. Social exchange theory basically suggests that relationships are kind of like a series of exchanges.
Okay.
We give and receive things, emotional support, practical help,
Right.
and yes, even feedback.
So when we give constructive feedback, we're actually contributing something valuable to the relationship.
Fair got it.
It's not just criticism, it's like an active investment.
Exactly. It shows you care enough to, address issues and work towards a healthier dynamic. And there's another theory, too.
Oh.
Attachment theory, which highlights how secure attachment styles, well, they can make us better at both giving and receiving feedback.
Now, attachment styles, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Can you unpack that a little? How does that like play into the whole feedback thing?
Sure. People with secure attachment styles tend to be more comfortable with vulnerability and openness,
Okay.
which are, super crucial for effective feedback.
Yeah.
They're more likely to trust that feedback is coming from a place of caring, not judgment.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
If you're secure in the relationship, you're less likely to take feedback as like a personal attack.
exactly.
You're more open to hearing it and using it to grow.
Right. And on the flip side, if someone has an insecure attachment style, feedback, well, it might trigger anxiety or defensiveness.
Makes sense. So the importance of feedback, it's really kind of a game changer. It's like this hidden ingredient that can transform any relationship.
I like that, a hidden ingredient.
But knowing why feedback is important, that's one thing. Knowing how to do it effectively,
Mm.
that's another.
Absolutely. And you know what? The importance of feedback gets really practical here. It gives us a ton of actionable tips for giving feedback like a pro.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Okay, let's do it.
What are some of those key takeaways? For giving feedback that's actually helpful, not hurtful.
Well, the source really stresses the importance of being specific. So instead of saying, you're always late,
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
try something like, I felt stressed and disrespected when you were 20 minutes late to our dinner reservation.
Wow, that's such a simple shift, but it makes a huge difference. You're focusing on the specific instance and how it made you feel,
Right.
not like labeling them as a chronically unreliable person.
You got it. Another great tip is to use I statements.
Okay.
This helps to keep the focus on your own experience, avoids blaming the other person.
Can you give me an example of that in action?
Instead of saying, you never listened to me.
Oof, I've definitely been on the receiving end of that one.
Try saying, I feel ignored when you're scrolling through your phone while I'm talking to you.
Okay, yeah, I see the difference.
Yeah.
It's about expressing your own feelings and needs without like putting the other person on the defensive. It's not, you're a bad listener, but this specific action makes me feel this way.
Exactly. It's a powerful communication tool. And the importance of feedback also reminds us to choose the right time and place for these conversations.
That's so important. Bringing up sensitive topics when someone's already stressed or like in the middle of an argument.
Oh, yeah. Big no-no.
Not the best strategy.
Definitely not. Think about it. Are you more receptive to feedback when you're calm and relaxed or when you're feeling rushed and overwhelmed?
When I'm calm, definitely. So we've talked a lot about giving feedback, but receiving it gracefully is important too. Any tips from the importance of feedback on how to handle that?
Active listening is key. Really focus on understanding the other person's perspective, even if you don't agree with everything they're saying.
So even if my initial reaction is to get defensive,
Yeah.
I should try to step back, really hear them out, try to understand where they're coming from.
Exactly. The importance of feedback suggests even trying to validate the other person's feelings, even if you disagree. You could say something like, I hear that you're feeling hurt by my actions, and I appreciate you sharing that with me.
That takes a lot of maturity and self-awareness. But it makes sense. If you shut down or get defensive, you miss the opportunity to learn and grow.
Right. And remember, feedback is a gift, even when it's hard to hear.
I like that.
It gives you valuable insights into how your actions impact others and helps you become a better partner, friend, family member. It's all part of building healthier, more fulfilling relationships.
That reminds me of symbolic interactionism.
Oh, yeah.
That idea that we create meaning through our interactions.
That's a great connection. Feedback is like a perfect example of how we shape and reshape those meanings in our relationships.
Yeah.
It allows us to see ourselves through each other's eyes and make those adjustments that create greater harmony.
It's like we're constantly co-creating the story of our relationships
Right.
through these small but significant interactions.
And feedback is a powerful tool for writing that story in a way that's beneficial for everyone involved.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From the psychology and sociology of feedback to practical tips, it feels like we've assembled this whole toolkit for better communication.
We have. And the best part is, these tools aren't just for fixing problems.
Okay.
They're for deepening connection, fostering growth, creating more fulfilling relationships across the board.
It's like feedback is the secret ingredient to making any relationship thrive. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the importance of feedback, I want to leave you with a little challenge.
I love a good challenge. What is it?
Okay, so think of one relationship in your life where you could benefit from giving or, even requesting feedback.
It could be your partner, a friend, a family member, even a colleague.
Yeah, anyone, really?
It might feel a little, uncomfortable at first,
Yeah,
but that discomfort often leads to the most meaningful growth.
exactly. So take a deep breath, embrace the vulnerability, and start that conversation.
Mm.
You might be surprised by what you learn.
Absolutely. And how much stronger that connection becomes because of it.
So before we sign off, the importance of feedback offers some additional resources if you want to, dive even deeper into all this.
Oh, yeah, let's share those with our listeners.
Where should we start?
Well, for those who really want to geek out on communication, nonviolent communication, A Language of Life by Marshall B. Rosenberg, that one comes highly recommended.
And if you want to master those tough conversations, crucial conversations, tools for talking when stakes are high by Kerry Patterson and his colleagues, that's a must read.
Yeah, it's full of practical strategies for handling those, high pressure moments in any relationship, really.
And for our listeners looking for relationship specific guidance, the importance of feedback points to the work of John Gottman and Nan Silver.
Oh, their book, The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work, that's a classic. It's packed with, research-based strategies for strengthening relationships.
And a lot of those strategies involve feedback, right?
Absolutely.
And for a deep dive into vulnerability, and how it builds those strong connections, we can't forget Brene Brown's Daring Greatly.
So true. And hey, there are tons of great online resources too.
Oh, totally. Like the American Psychological Association website, they have a ton of info on communication and relationships.
And if you want tools and techniques based on the Gottman method, the Gottman Institute website is fantastic.
It's amazing how much information is out there. I guess it shows just how crucial these skills are for building healthy, happy relationships.
For sure.
Well, we really covered a lot today, from the underlying theories of feedback to practical tips, additional resources. It feels like we have assembled this whole toolkit, for better communication.
Yeah, we did. And the best part is these tools aren't just for fixing problems.
Right.
They're for deepening connection, fostering growth, creating more fulfilling relationships across the board. It's like feedback is the secret ingredient to making any relationship thrive. So, until next time.